make sure the Earth is happy, right?
Yeah, gotta have a happy Earth.
Biodiversity and sustainability development goals.
Yeah.
And
don't forget about being sustainable.
yeah, of course, you got to make sure you're sustained.
Gotta sustain that sustainability.
What's going on, guys? It's a What It Is podcast. I'm Strolli. He's Marlee.
I'm Marlee. That's Strolli.
And we're here to talk about things and stuff.
Mm-hmm. And today,
what's the thing today?
The things,
or is it stuff today?
I think it's stuff. Today.
Are we stuffing things today?
No, preferably not.
Okay.
Nothing's getting stuffed around here, guy.
Anyway, so what's the thing today, Marlee?
I guess the thing is sustainability, and specifically Agenda 2030.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, how the UN is trying to impose a new world order. One world government.
Let's put the tinfoil hats on.
Hey guys, the thing is conspiracy again.
Again.
Yeah. Nah, dude. Sustainability. Agenda 2030. Yep. You brought this up to me a while ago. I actually never heard about it.
Yeah, and I heard from somebody else, which is really weird because I love going down rabbit holes, and apparently this is a rabbit hole I never went down.
Yeah. Well, much less a rabbit hole and more just like...
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely...
What I was talking about was a rabbit hole.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
The conspiracy behind it, for sure.
Exactly. Conspiracy behind it.
Conspiracy. Yeah. Alleged conspiracy behind it. Yeah. But there's not a lot of information on it. At least for America. There's a lot of the...
Not surprising.
Yeah. A lot of the other UN countries have been putting in a lot of time and work into it, actually.
I mean, considering how important sustainability has been past 4 years, it hasn't... Yeah. Not surprising that there hasn't been a lot of progress made.
Yeah, for sure. So what 2030 is, the Agenda 2030 is supposed to be, is there's 17 sustainable development goals that the UN has come up with that they want to implement and do better in by the year 2030. This started in 2015. And
a while ago at this point.
Yeah. And
6 years.
Yeah. And
I did math.
We're so proud of you.
I know. I was like, yeah.
So what these goals are about ending hunger.
I can pull up all 17 if you want.
Yeah, you want to do that? You want to just write them off?
Yeah, actually, we can go through them. It's like you said, 17 goals. I mean, I try to get into the UN document. UN documents are very hard to read.
Yeah. All the political jargon and all that shit.
Put an awake boy to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
But USA Today has a link.
Okay, cool.
Number 1, end all poverty in all forms everywhere.
Yep.
I mean, I think that's pretty commendable.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want to end poverty? You know. 2.
I'm just kidding.
No, I was gonna say not you. I was talking about capitalists or whatever.
Oh, that's fair.
End hunger, achieve food security, and improve nutrition and promote sustainable agriculture is number 2.
Okay.
I mean, also that kind of makes sense.
What's that like? Sustaining
sustainable food,
renewable food kind of thing. Like
yeah, exactly.
Growing food instead of making food.
yeah, more than likely, probably food waste and shit like that. Recyclable. Ensure healthy lives and promote well-being for all at all ages, which I think is important.
Yeah, for sure.
Got to take care of our elders and the children. You know.
What about the children?
Exactly. Poor little starving babies. Number 4, ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. That's interesting, actually.
Was that education?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's like, yeah, we're going to keep you alive, but what else after that, you know?
Well, that's up to you.
I guess. But
yeah, no,
I mean,
but
ensuring that opportunity for everyone, I think, is actually pretty...
That would be nice to have, yeah.
Achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls. That's a good one.
That is a good one.
Yeah. Gender equality. Yeah, no other thoughts on that one? Gender equality.
Yeah. Are we sure about that?
I guess.
Yeah, no.
No, that's important.
Yeah. Yes, I agree.
Ensure availability and sustainable excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
Ensure availability and sustainable management for water and sanitation for all.
Okay. So clean water supply and sanitation. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Looking at you, Flint. Sorry, y'all.
Oof.
Yeah, well, again, look at the last 4 years.
Yeah.
Ensure access to affordable, reliable, and sustainable and modern energy for all.
Okay.
That's important.
Yeah.
Promote sustained, inclusive, and sustainable economic growth, full and productive employment, and decent work for all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, really good goals, man. The UN had something going on.
Yeah. In theory.
Build resilient infrastructure, promote inclusive and sustainable industrialization, and foster innovation.
Okay.
Reduce inequality within and among countries.
Okay.
That's good. Make cities and human settlements inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable.
Okay.
Sustainability is important.
That seems to be a common thread amongst all of these sustainable development goals.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like, yeah, we're going to get you there, but good luck after that.
Yeah.
Ensure sustainable consumption and production patterns.
Okay.
Important. Take urgent action to combat climate change and its impacts.
Mm-hmm.
Acknowledging the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change.
Okay.
Which is real.
Allegedly. Sorry. I'm just kidding. It is real.
Excuse me, I just had to burp.
You get the burpees.
Yeah, it's not very sustainable of me.
No, it's not.
Conserve and sustainably use the oceans, seas, and marine resources for sustainable development. They're just going on sustainable a lot.
That's why I think that's why they're called sustainable development goals.
But that one was like, it's like, how many times can we say sustainable? We have to let you know it's sustainable.
Yeah.
Yeah, gotta protect the fishies, even though fuck the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not for trashing the ocean, but I just don't like it. It's not for me.
The ocean's not your place.
Mm-mm.
You're not happy about the ocean.
No, fuck.
Does it scare you?
Yes.
Does it give you the heebie-jeebies?
That's racist.
Is it?
It's. I don't know. It always sounds like it should be.
Okay, I was like, is it?
Let us know if it is. Maybe it probably has some weird roots. It just sounds like it's one of those things that just sounds like super racist.
Yeah,
you know?
or at least sounds like it came from the 50s.
So super racist.
Okay, fine. God.
Where was I? All right. Protect, restore, and promote sustainable use of terrestrial ecosystems, sustainably manage forests, combat desertification. Desertification, not desertification.
Yeah, I was like,
I'm all about that desertification, dude.
Yeah.
More desserts for me. And halt and reverse land degradation and halt biodiversity loss.
Okay.
Promote peaceful and inclusive societies for sustainable development, provide access to justice for all, and build effective, accountable, and inclusive institutions at all levels.
Okay.
And then strengthen the means of implementation and revitalize a global partnership for sustainable development.
Okay.
17.
That's all 17?
Mm-hmm.
So
In summation. Just probably like...
What was the third one again? I'm just kidding. I'm just
I was
kidding.
saying, dude, I don't fucking remember.
Yeah,
There
I'm
was
just
17 of them.
Yeah. So basically, having everybody not be poor, be educated, and have the equal chance to do the same thing as everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure the earth is happy, right?
Yeah, gotta have a happy earth.
Biodiversity and
Sustainability.
development
Mm-hmm.
goals.
Yeah.
And
Don't forget about being sustainable.
yeah, of course, you got to make sure you're sustained.
Gotta sustain that sustainability.
And that's pretty much it, right? Oh, and energy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Efficient ways to use for energy.
Mm-hmm. You all right there, bud?
Yeah.
What is behind me?
The tapestry may be falling.
Fuck.
Shh.
All
Maybe
right.
if we
I haven't tapped into it. It's not my fault.
Maybe if we ignore it long enough, it'll just go away.
All right, we're gonna have to wrap this episode up.
Shit. All right. All right. So yeah, there it is. You do the research on your own. See you guys.
Bye.
No. So, all right. So all of those things we can all agree are good.
Mm-hmm.
How confident are you that it's actually going to be possible?
0.
Okay. Well, not even an inkling of possibility to be able to accomplish that.
It's gonna cost some people money.
That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I kind of want to look on the bright side of it and try and be like, oh, yeah, there's a possibility. Sure. Maybe in some countries.
Maybe in some countries. Maybe
but
in years.
Not for all of the UN.
Unfortunately.
I mean, there's still 9 more years to go. And there's definitely been a bunch of strides for some of that stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
In other countries, not so much as the United States of America.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm hopeful. I'm hoping that maybe not 2030,
mm-hmm.
but eventually we can get to a point where all of those goals are met. Because those are things that I feel like as humans we need to try and accomplish, right?
Yeah.
So
we need to stop caring about just ourselves and think about a bigger picture.
are there any one of those points that you feel like that you could that you can perceive them doing, how to do them, I guess is the best way to do it. How do you expect, is there any one of those ones that you could be like, okay, I can kind of see how this would go? Or are you all just like, no, none of this is happening? Does that make sense? Did I word that appropriately?
Probably.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's gonna take me a minute.
So
There's 17 of them.
So yeah. No, while you look like for energy, right? They was saying clean energy and stuff like that. Like,
Well, I mean, I can only take into account like the U.S. because that's where we live.
well, yeah, but I mean, even in general, there's only a handful of forms of energy, right? You have hydro, solar, wind, coal, and nuclear, right?
Mhm.
There's, maybe there's like one or two subcategories of them, but for the most part, those are the only things that we can use to utilize for energy, right?
Mhm.
I feel like nuclear is the way that it needs to go, but everybody thinks that, Chernobyl is going to happen again, and we need to stay away from nuclear. But nuclear is like, on average, the greenest energy source that you can get per kilowatt. You know what I mean, or kilowatt hour, whatever. However, it's going. Like,
I think that's only because there's been so little investment in other sources of energy.
Not necessarily. So the thing with solar power is that you can't store it, right? You can't store that solar power, right? It as soon as it comes in, it gets used automatically.
You sure about that?
Yeah. There's no. I mean, the batteries. In theory, the containment for that energy, it's like water, right? All of that water being on that, there's not a way that we have yet, at least, to efficiently and consistently store that power, right? It comes in and there's just, it's not enough to, it comes in and automatically gets used. Like one solar panel like does like 1 milliwatt an hour kind of thing. Like, it's so little energy that you get from solar. It's very efficient in the sense of it just kind of sits there, right? And then you have power that, whatever. But the amount of power that you get out per whatever is so small that it gets used up so quickly. You would need like solar panels on the whole face of the earth to be able to store for the whole usability of the earth, if that makes sense. Like, you need so much extra solar power, so solar panels to store that energy. So when there's the solar farms and stuff like that, they're not there for a backup. They're there to, like, when at nighttime and shit like that, it runs on other energy. But during that daytime when they're being utilized, they're running off of that energy. Does that make sense? It still needs to work with other energies. It's not self-sustaining as much as we think that it is, right?
It's not in its current state.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and realistically with electricity, the amount of energy that we get from the sun so far away, there's not like a reason, unless they can come up with a technology to harness those
harness the power of the sun.
Yeah, harness the power of the sun much better.
That's really worrying, dog.
I know.
I don't want to turn around and look at it.
No.
When I
You're
do, it's
good.
going to collapse.
You're good. No, I think it should be fine. It just kind of came off of one little corner, but it should be okay. We'll hope. So if the tapestry comes down, we're sorry, guys.
Nobody tell me.
Yeah, no, I won't tell them. No, so the solar panel is just super inefficient, and because of that, you're not really able to utilize it to its full potential. Essentially, it needs to be combined with something else.
But I don't think that's I feel like the problem with that though is that argument is made as a point to abandon it. Like just because we can't perfectly utilize it now doesn't mean it's not an avenue for the future.
Oh yeah. No. I'm not challenging that.
Yeah.
There may be a possibility to have that be an avenue in the future. However, for now, we're just not there yet, and the technology doesn't seem like it can get there. Right. Essentially. So, but what I'm saying, regardless of the fact, nuclear power is cleaner than solar, cleaner than wind, but it's got the stigma that, oh, it's nuclear, it's super scary, right? We're all going to get irradiated. Where
I watched The Simpsons.
Nuclear is even on top of being cleaner, it's actually safer than those other avenues of electricity.
Are there nuclear power plants in the U.S. right now?
There's millions, bro.
There's
Maybe not.
millions.
Not.
You-
not
you're
yeah.
tripping.
Sorry.
You're
That was hyperbole. There's a lot. There's like 7 of us just around us. Fuck.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Yeah. So sorry about that.
Yeah, we're back.
Yeah, the tapestry may or may not have fallen. It definitely fell. So I had to fix that real quick.
Mm-hmm.
But we're back for now.
We're back, and Strolli's wrong.
Yeah. So during our short break, we found out that 56, Dom, you said?
56.
Thanks, Dom.
Thank you. And also, he got a new mic, so now we can hear him, and there's no awkward silences, unless he decides it to be. 56 nuclear power plants in the U.S. And Marlee wants to say it, Marlee. Come on.
You can store solar energy.
Yes, you can store solar
You only
energy.
need battery.
Yes, you can.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't saying that you can't. You just can't store for that large of an infrastructure. You can store solar energy. You can fill a battery with solar energy.
I can power my house exclusively on solar energy.
Probably not.
Yes.
Depending on what you're using. Probably
with a
not.
battery.
What's that?
Yes, with a battery.
It has to be you don't get
and I
enough.
can sell the excess energy to the power grid.
There's not enough that comes in to fulfill the 220 kV that you use. It's just your usage is too much compared to what the solar panels can come in at one time.
That doesn't sound true, man.
So my reference for that is my brother who works for Pico,
right,
who deals with this stuff on a daily basis and also deals with the solar energy that comes in with it, and that they don't the amount of solar energy that you get from solar panels is just too low to use. You can power your house solely on solar energy, but you can't like plug your refrigerator in and use your air conditioner at the same time. There's just too much power draw. Where we're at right now.
Quote from chariotenergy.com. If you install the average 250 watt solar panel, you'd need around 28 to 34 solar panels to generate enough energy to power your entire home. Divide that number by the solar panel production estimate. The exact estimate will vary depending on your location and property, ergo tree coverage and regional sunshine.
So what happens when it's a cloudy day?
You use power from your batteries. And also, solar panels can still generate on a cloudy day. Just may not be as much energy.
Very, very low. Very, very low. So what I'm saying is on large scale, right? Maybe small scale, sure. All right. I'll concede and say for a large scale, sure. Or a small scale, sure. You can use solar energy. For a house, maybe a couple houses, right? If you have a big enough battery. Okay, fine. But when you're talking about full infrastructure of cities and stuff like that, like Philly's not going to be run on solar panels anytime soon.
Maybe not solar panels alone.
That's what I'm saying. You with solar, you need to use. Oh, thank you.
Sorry, I touched his foot.
You need to. you need more. You need something else.
Wind turbines.
And wind potentially,
which is I was actually seeing that's happening in Jersey,
but
all up and down the shore.
Wind.
New Jersey's trying to get into the
wind
turbine, but there's something that happened recently. I got to look more into it, but I know that New Jersey's looking into
where
doing that.
Wind turbines are right now. They're extremely, bless you. They're extremely reliant on oils, coal. Because you need lubricants and grease and oils for the bearings and stuff like that. They're like that's really about it. And then also, you need a shit ton again for a little amount of power. But a nuclear power plant, like there's one up in Pottsville, something like that. There's one up north from us, kind of past Chester County, and then there's one over in Jersey. Those two plants can power their, like, I don't know what the exact area that they can power, but they can do a whole lot of energy for and just be relying on that.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to efficiency, nuclear takes a kick.
And large scale application.
Yes, exactly, for large scale, yeah. And even actually they're trying to come up with small scale stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like stuff that you can fit in the back of a truck that you can just
Sweet, we're going to be living in Fallout?
Yeah. So nuclear energy isn't necessarily that dangerous anymore because of the fact that there's so many regulations and we know so much more about it. So it's easier to manage.
Oof.
So
Title of an article from the Office of Nuclear Energy. Nuclear power is the most reliable energy source, and it's not even close.
Yes.
Is that due to nuclear energy just being the best option or being the most vested option?
There's so much potential, like actual, like physical potential energy in uranium and plutonium. There's so much potential energy in those atoms that it's just by nature. And actually, nuclear.
That's also from the nuclear site. I was like,
nuclear power is essentially steam power. It's not
the power of steam.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey!
Yeah. So the nuclear rods get super hot, and then they boil water that's around them. That water boils. That steam is what powers turbines, which powers everything else. So nuclear power is essentially old school coal steam power on steroids. And again, it's super clean.
It's very expensive.
Yeah.
Solar power ranges from $36 to $44 per megawatt. Onshore wind power comes in at $29 to $56 per megawatt. Nuclear energy costs between $112 and $189 megawatt.
Yeah. But you don't need as much.
I could see in developed countries. Maybe in underdeveloped countries it might be.
To build a nuclear power plant and to get the actual the rods that you need for that, yeah, it's definitely expensive. But when you have that initial investment, if I'm not mistaken, it's much cheaper, like long run, for the amount of power that it can get, if that makes sense.
Nuclear is not truly renewable.
Well, yeah, no, it's not renewable.
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously pros and cons.
Yeah,
like that's why I keep looking down, guys. I'm not just ignoring Strolli. I'm actually like trying to look at shit. I mean, you talk, I look up.
Yeah.
What I'm reading, I mean, it's not renewable.
Yeah.
There's obviously pros and cons. I don't think one option is going to ever be the best option. I think it has to grow into being a combination of many options, and that's what we're kind of leading into as a whole.
Yeah,
you know, it's not like what happened in Texas where the fucking power grid failed and they're like, that goddamn new Green Deal. Like, that's not the fucking case, dude. There's a multitude of options.
If they had a nuclear power plant down in Texas, there wouldn't have been any issues whatsoever. Essentially speaking, right? Or if they were able to, well, actually, wind turbines would have frozen up too. So
not if they were weatherized, which they did.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
That was the whole thing. Like, they're like, it doesn't snow in Texas. And it's kind of like,
well, I'm pretty sure weatherization would be
fucking climate change
would be heavily needed with coal. I'm trying to think of strictly non-coal used energy. I mean, obviously, to build nuclear power plants, you need coal at the moment. But
basically, it's going to take time.
Yes.
There's not one clear option as far as renewable energy goes.
Yeah.
It needs to be a combination of
and
things.
It's not necessarily renewable. It's more or less about green, right? Like, obviously, renewables is awesome and great and fine.
Renewable is green.
Yes. Yes.
There's no consumption. It's replenishable. It's renewable.
Yeah. But green also means not putting shit into our atmosphere, which coal does. So that's what I mean. Like, green is still good, even if it does use some stuff like nuclear power, right? It's not renewable in any way, shape, or form because the uranium has to come from somewhere. The plutonium or whatever the hell they use anymore has to come from somewhere. But the amount that you need is so low comparatively speaking.
Right.
So, yeah. Back to my original question for you. That we went on this extreme tangent.
That's not a tangent. It's involved with it.
Yes,
I mean,
exactly.
we're talking about sustainability.
Yeah, that's fair.
Sustaining sustainability.
Sustaining. Is there one on there that you could talk about, I guess, now that I just I started that?
That I can talk about, dude. I can't talk about shit.
You can talk about some things.
Nope.
Nope.
And all poverty in all forms everywhere. I mean, that's number one on the list. I don't know if that's like, I don't know if there's a priority to these, or it's just kind of like, here's 17 points. We're going to try to hit them all consecutively.
Now, is poverty a certain number, or is it a certain percentage, right? Like, is poverty like, to be out of poverty, you have to have a more than 30K income, or is it to be out of the low income class, I guess? Does that make sense?
I think poverty, I feel like poverty comes down to more of like
a certain denomination. There is a hard line.
No, I don't think there's a hard line to being in poverty, because you could technically be making like 50K and still be living in poverty. Yeah. Depending on what your situation is.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's why I think it's more so like just like a quality of life deal, as opposed to like maybe you can be making 30K and live comfortably and happily and healthily and be able to live your life, you know? Yeah. Obviously, that's not fucking possible in most places. Yeah. Specifically with like the U.S. I mean, you can't afford homes without making like $16 or $17 an hour anywhere in the U.S.
Yeah, pretty much. So, unless you have extremely low expenses. Mm-hmm. You know,
in most cases, none. No other expenses.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But like shit like that is kind of like, all right, so maybe you can afford to put a roof over your head, but you can't afford to put food in your fridge, so you're hungry.
Yeah. But you have a house.
Sure.
Yeah. No, I know.
You know.
So
like poverty means different things in different places. You know, like you just said, you know, if you can afford to put a roof over your house, are you living in poverty? Well, there's different factors that equate to what being in poverty is. Yeah. I don't think there's a hard line. I think it's more so just increasing the quality of life for people across the board.
So with that, So with that being said, then is there, in theory, a goal to be met then? If there's not a direct line, right? If there's not a direct point to be like, we got these people out of poverty, and it's constantly something that's going to be...
Look at what do you need to survive, you know?
Food, water, shelter.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Do you have all of those things? Like, do we consider that the line for poverty? Like, do you have food? Do you have water? Do you have clean water? Clean water.
Clean water, important.
Yes.
Yep. One of the SDGs.
Yeah. Do you have food? Good food. Not actually. Also, that's another thing. Not just food, but do you have good food? Because a lot of people can afford the dollar menu at McDonald's, but that's not good food.
I think that's perspective based.
I don't think so. I think we all know McDonald's isn't good food. You know, that's where like you go into places that have like basically food deserts. They don't have clean water. They don't have fresh grocery stores, but they have fucking 3 McDonald's within a 2-mile radius. You know. Mm-hmm. But what are you gonna do? Yeah. When you're working fucking 12, 16 hours a day just to afford to live, you can't afford to cook. You can't afford fresh groceries. All you can do is work for your little bit of money and then go buy fast food because that's just the only option you have.
Yeah, that's fair.
You know, God forbid you have people to take care of. What are you going to do then? They have to eat, but they don't have access to good food. Yeah. They're like it's shit like that. You know, you can't even just say like, oh, you have food. Well, what's the quality of that food? Oh, you have water. What's the quality of that water? Yeah. You have shelter.
If it's shit that you're putting in your body, then is it really beneficial in any way, shape, or form?
Exactly. Yeah. You have shelter, but what's the quality of your shelter? That's why I think poverty is more so just the quality of life.
It's a waterproof cardboard box.
Exactly, dude. You ever seen the big fridge boxes? Dude, those things are awesome.
I know. They really are.
But your imagination go wild.
Yeah. Yeah, so okay. So all right, yeah. How do you think that can be achieved? Like is there something that you can think of that can be like, I think if they could implement this, if they could do this they might be able to have it happen.
Probably one of the bigger things, and again, talking about the US, is reducing the stigma of people in poverty. Mm-hmm. Like, they're not just lazy people. Mm-hmm. And that's, again, goes into how society views work, and, you know, like, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. If I made it, anybody can make it. Like, no, that's not the case.
Sometimes, but yeah, I hear what you're saying.
No, that's not the case.
Sometimes.
You can't even just say sometimes.
Sometimes.
Because you made it doesn't mean I can make it.
Sometimes. What if it's like, I made it down the steps, so you should be able to make it down the steps too?
Well,
I'm just being strictly facetious with this argument.
I know. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Unless I'm paralyzed.
Yeah,
Then,
yeah.
you know, well, I can make it down, but it'll hurt.
I didn't say you had to do it and it'd be nice.
Exactly.
No, I do understand what you're saying. Sometimes it is tough, for people who have had hardships, kind of like what we've talked about before.
Yeah,
like
especially
having
in the
like
mental health
like
episode.
yeah, exactly. Like having hardships and experiencing your own hardships doesn't mean that somebody else's hardships are any equal, same, better, different, or anything.
Yeah, it's
they're
not
still the same. They're still hardships.
Yeah, it's not the struggle Olympics out here. Struggle is a struggle.
Yeah.
Reduce the stigma of people needing help.
Yeah. So if you can get rid of the stigma, you think it would be helpful? How so?
Because if we reduce the stigma of they don't deserve help,
Mm-hmm.
we'd be more inclined to help.
Okay. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah. If we as society decided to show more sympathy towards poverty instead of more
people in need.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
If we showed more sympathy and compassion as compared to turning a blind eye or acting oblivious to it because it makes us feel better not seeing it.
There's cities that implement basically anti-homeless measures.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Don't sit on this bench. You're gonna go to jail. They're gonna fucking arrest you. You know. They implement measures to not reduce homelessness, but just to get it out of the way.
Yeah.
Because
they police homelessness instead of trying to fix it.
Nobody wants to look at a homeless person sleeping on a bench, but then nobody wants to help that fucking homeless person. Instead, they'd rather get the problem out of sight, out of mind.
Well, because that homeless person did it on his own, and you know that, Mark.
Exactly. Because I live in my fucking $500,000 condo in New York. Just doesn't mean they can't.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, trying to fill those three basic needs for human life, I think, are very important. That they need to be worked on and they need to be taken care of, because I don't think sustainable goals is a realistic thing to kind of shoot for, right? Agenda 2030, the whole thing, like almost in a summation kind of thing, like. I don't think it's a reasonable thing to achieve. I think the reasonable thing to achieve is try and bring society together as a whole, right? Unify more than divide, right? If there could be to potentially someday down the road to unify the world as compared to keeping it segregated, for lack of a better term.
One world government.
Like a genuinely trying to unify the world. And the people, I think, is more, I don't want to say realistic, but probably more beneficial for society. You know what I mean? Like, just being like, oh, we're going to make more green energy, or, oh, we're going to do things to get people out of poverty, or we're going to try and do this, we're going to do this.
Imagine if the U.S. brought solar panels and clean water instead of war to these people's doorsteps.
Right. Imagine what... Yeah, just my brain just went like to 17 different things, and I was like, I can't even comprehend that myself. Yeah, just imagine if instead of us trying to be the big aggressive brother and trying to make everyone play and fight nice, apparently, and instead just being like, hey, here's some love. You know, can you imagine how different the
fucking
society
the urge to always come out ahead and be number one?
Yeah.
Why do you have to be number one?
Because we got like
it's not a fucking race.
60 aircraft carriers, and that's kind of dope. I think we have more aircraft carriers.
Do we do nuclear plants?
No. We have more. I'm sorry. We have more super carriers, super aircraft carriers.
The ones from the Avengers.
The real fucking big ones.
The ones from the Avengers.
Yeah. We have more of those than every other country combined. And like, I think that is still. I think that number is the same with like we have more nuclear submarines than we do every other country combined. Like, those statistics are so, as an American, it's kind of fucking cool to be like, yeah, we got a dope ass military. But then as a human, I'm like,
it's not cool at all.
It's still kind of cool because I like that kind of shit. But like, it just sucks because it's like, there's all of that money that's just been wasted. All of that money that's just been put into something for us to have whose dick is bigger contest, essentially, right? And instead, if we could have put all of that money into the infrastructure, into society, into the people, we potentially could be in a much happier environment
It's
than
only
we
like
are right
4
now.
or 5 countries who's in that race, anyways. The rest of the world is like, fuck on, dude.
The rest of the world is just like, yeah, we got some people stationed right outside our borders, like just in case, but like they don't care about us because we're kind of right there in the middle, and we don't care about them because it's just suicide for us.
Yeah,
so
it's really like it's like 3 or 5 countries that are just like, my dick's bigger. No, my dick's bigger.
Yeah.
And just holding the rest of the world hostage.
Yeah. Yeah, it truly is a shame.
It is.
But so in a true conclusion faction, right? Agenda 2030. Positive, negative. Do you think it can happen? Do you not think it can happen?
I mean, obviously positive.
Right. Okay.
I mean,
Yeah. I'm just getting your,
yeah,
your
obviously positive. Do I think it will happen by 2030? No.
Do you think it will happen at all?
Potentially.
Yeah. I think
as the times change, generations change, I think there is going to be a bigger and more quantifiable push towards these ideals.
Yeah.
The society changes, fucking every year to year. As certain people get pushed out of office, certain people with power change,
Mm-hmm.
I think you'll start seeing these things take a pretty decent hike.
For sure, yeah.
Because those old ideals that keep the world hostage are gonna exist no longer. Because as a younger generation, we understand that we survive as a world and not as a country.
Yeah. I think I fall on that same line there.
Yeah.
Definitely positive, definitely not happening 2030.
No, but
maybe someday.
Maybe someday.
Yeah.
I'd like to see it happen someday. There's some good things there.
Yep. You guys take a look at Agenda 2030.
2030, not Agenda 21, 2030.
Is that the conspiracy?
That's a conspiracy one.
Is it 2130?
Specifically right-wing conspiracy. That's typically where the one world government cashless currency, they want to take over the world. That shit comes from.
Yeah, definitely check that out. That sounds interesting. Yeah. But take it with a grain of salt. Anyway, check out Agenda 2030. Let us know what you think. If you think it's, if you agree with us. If not, we gave you all the SDGs.
Let us know where we're wrong.
We kind of ran out of time on trying to go through every single one.
I like that, though. I like to talk about sustainability. That was fun.
Yeah, that was
I like being able to look shit up, too.
Yeah.
Tell you were wrong.
We're gonna nip that one in the butt real freaking quick. Just kidding.
Yeah, we're not gonna bring education to the show.
How dare we?
The fuck? That's not what we're about.
Yeah.
It's not things or stuff.
Yep, but let us know what you guys think. Mm-hmm. There we go. That was
there
tough.
We go.
And I think we'll catch you next time.
Absolutely, guys.
We love you guys.
Bye.
Bye.